Welcome to the Real Estate Investor Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Lipsky of Break of Day Capital. I talk to leading experts to discuss a wide range of subjects to educate investors on best-in-class practices to build legacy wealth and positively impact communities. Let's jump in. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investor Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Lipsky with Break of Day Capital. Be sure to join our Facebook group, Asset Management Mastery, where we have a great community of thousands of like-minded individuals sharing resources and best practices.
Choosing the right insurance coverage for multifamily properties isn't that complicated if you know who to talk to. At the Garzella Group, we're uniquely qualified to help you navigate the range of policy choices you have, and we're committed to saving you 30% in the process. We do intensive market research and have nationwide relationships, so we can find coverage other insurance brokers simply can't. We should talk. Go to quotenow.biz and we'll start the conversation.
Today on the podcast, we bring back Rod Khlief. Rod is a multiple business owner and philanthropist who is passionate about business, high performance, real estate, and giving back. He is one of the country's top real estate and peak performance luminaries. He's also owned over 2,000 properties and hosts the Lifetime Cash Flow podcast, which has had over 12 million podcast downloads.
16, just saying. But you got a dated bio. Please stop reading that damn thing. It's painful to hear it. But anyway, I appreciate you having me back on, brother. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely. Well, these are very, very interesting times. Yes. You know, the Fed talks about trying to break things and has been successful to a certain point. But this is, give us
I think the proverbial you-know-what is about to hit the you-know-what. That's what I think. Right now, office is at a minimum 20% vacant across the entire country. Now, of course, places like San Francisco, it's even significantly worse. New York, it's worse. But 20% overall, which is just staggering because those operators can't sustain that sort of a delinquency. They can't sustain that kind of delinquency. So, a lot of that debt is held by banks. So that's what issue number one. Issue number two is 1/3 of all commercial real estate debt is adjustable rate. And here's why that's a big deal. Because, and I say this, 1.6 trillion of debt is due by the end of next year. Okay. So, and half a trillion of that is multifamily, which is of course, you and I both talk about the most. And so here's the problem with that. Okay. There's a 75% year over year decline in sales first quarter of this year. Stuff's not selling. So that's number one. Number two, let me back up. There's two options one of those operators has. They either sell or they refinance. Okay, so selling's not great, not an option. Cap rates have gone up, values have gone down, and that's the same problem with refinancing. Values have gone down, and so they're not going to be able to get not going to be able to get conforming debt, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, because the loan to value is there without putting significant money in the deal. Okay, I mean big money into a deal. And a lot of these operators don't have that kind of money. And let me give you another problem. Rate caps. Okay. If you wanted a rate cap, which basically a rate cap means it limits the interest rate increases on an adjustable rate mortgage by a certain percentage, like typically it's 2 or 3% that you'll buy a cap, so it doesn't go over 2 or 3% of, what the initial rate is when you close. Well, back in 2020, if you got $100 million rate cap, for 3% rate cap, so that's the max could go up for 3 years. Okay, so 100 million, 3%, 3 years, it was $23,000. Okay, today that same rate cap, unless it's gone up since I saw this article, for 100 million for 1 year, not even 3 years. Of course, the longer it goes, the more expensive it is. But for 1 year is 2.3 million. Okay. That's the freaking problem, because, these operators either have to come up with the money to buy down to conforming loans, which are, traditional long-term, non-recourse debt, or they have to do adjustable rate again. If they're doing adjustable, they got to buy a rate cap. So they're either going to have to do a capital call, which is never fun. They've got to go to their investors and say, hey, we need some more money to keep this thing alive. And if they can pull that off, then maybe they'll get some more runway. But if they can't, then those deals are going to get distressed and get sold. And so I see a lot of pain in this industry. I hate to say it. I look at it from the rosy glasses side, which is I believe there's going to be incredible opportunity. And so I'm in a lot of cash. I'm access to a lot of cash. And I really believe, obviously with a crisis, cash is king. But with a crisis also is opportunity. And so I try to look at it from the positive side, but pain is coming. I mean, people like Elon Musk said, everybody's lying. A bigger crash is coming. That's a direct quote from Elon, and he's a pretty freaking smart guy. Buffett's preparing for a market downturn, and I love his quote, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. And so I hate to say it. I don't like the word greed, but I believe that's going to be part of my dictionary here when the what hits the fan. So, and I'll tell you, there's some other really sobering statistics as well. For example, credit cards. Credit cards are being used to pay ordinary household bills right now, right? And that's not a good sign. And credit card balances are going way up, and love him or hate him, Trump said that the economy literally could enter a depression similar to the Great Depression of the early 1930s, late 29. That's some pretty sobering, claims and what people are saying. And so, I think it's going to be ugly. I think there's going to be incredible opportunity, to either buy real estate. I think businesses are going to also, there's going to be opportunity to buy businesses. But, here's a Forbes, I'm scrolling through some of these headlines I pulled for this interview. Forbes article, expect layoffs at 51% of U.S. companies, according to a new survey. And here's another one. This is a real sobering one. More than 20 million U.S. households are behind on the utility bills. So again, if I haven't sufficiently scared the hell out of you, I don't. but listen, again, you can get scared by that, and you can get caught up in the fear, and the fear will paralyze you, or you can get excited. And so, one of the first things I do at one of my boot camps, we can talk about later, but just mention it now, is goals. Goal setting. I call it goal setting on steroids. And the reason I do that is because it's going to get real easy to get sucked into the crap on the news, because they're going to make it even worse appearance wise than it really is. But that's why goals are so freaking important right now. And let me mention this to you, because we'll talk about my boot camp, but I also do a goal setting workshop every New Year's Day. I've done it for years. I did one last year. I'll do one again this year. I did one this year, and I'm going to do one on the first of next year. And if you go to rodslinks.com, rods plural, links plural.com, it's my link tree, and there's my bootcamp site, my podcast site, and a bunch of other free resources, free books and stuff like that. But at the bottom is my goal setting workshop. And it's only about an hour, and there's a guide you can download. I'm not going to try to sell you anything, but here's the sad reality, Gary. People spend more time planning a freaking birthday party than they do designing their lives. And right now, with the what hitting the fan here, you really need to get clear on what you want and why you want it, so that your focus goes there and not to the pain and the magnified news. And just remember one thing about the news, guys. They are for-profit companies. They are not like a public service. They are there, and they make money when they scare the hell out of you. Okay, so and frankly, most of it's BS anyway. You don't even know what to believe anymore on the major news networks. I'm getting my stuff offline, Twitter and other places now, but we won't go down that political rabbit hole. But the point is, there's going to be a lot of fear. It'll be pervasive. And as a leader, and right now, if you're listening to Gary and I or watching Gary and I, you're a leader, no question. And the world needs leaders more than ever. And it's really critical that you manage your focus. So you need to be paying attention to your goals, to the things that you want, standing guard at the door to your mind and not letting the crap in. So really super important in what's coming.
Yeah, you had a lot of great information out there.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the refinance piece a little bit. So to our listeners, before last year and years before that, you can get 80, 85% leverage. Now you're talking 60 to 65%. That's a millions of dollar difference. So if you need a refi, most operators don't have that money, sitting under their pillow.
Right.
So it's going to be a problem. I'm surprised people aren't selling more proactively now.
I think it's so funny you say that, because I'm like, why aren't there more deals on the market right now? Because I know there's tons of these guys that are in trouble right now. They know they're in trouble. And I think their heads are in the sand. I've been spending a lot of time with my warriors, my coaching students, talking about, hey, if this is you, if you got some problems, you got some bridge debt, I had an attorney come on, one of my attorneys come on and talk about doing a capital raise properly so that you're not scaring your investors. And, we talked, I've lined out a lot of different rescue capital options, where people, they're vultures, but they can save you and save your investors in a deal possibly. So I've been doing that, teaching, just protection strategies and really enhanced asset management training, because, right now the water's going out and before too long, we'll see who doesn't have clothes on, and unfortunately there've been some nefarious, incompetent operators that have had some high profile foreclosures lately that really taint the entire industry, which is unfair, because there are a lot of great operators out there that do it right, that will be able to sustain what's coming. And a lot of them will, but there'll be a lot of these newbies that don't know what they're doing. And, and I've got a lot of students that are new. So I'm worried about that. And I'm spending a lot of time, extra time training to, help prevent pain with my peeps. My students now own upwards of somewhere between 160 and 170,000 units that we know of. Super proud of that. I've only been teaching 5 years, but, I want to protect them as much as I want to help them grow. So anyway. Yeah.
Sure. And the beauty of your group and other groups is that network piece is so important. So sure. If I don't know the answer, and I don't know the answer to everything, I can go to a trusted advisor and say, hey, do you know this problem? And if they don't, they know someone that has gone through that. And so I don't have to suffer the pain that they went through it, because they could help guide me through it.
Right. Yeah, no, that's the value of my coaching program, my warriors. There's over 1,000 warriors around the country. And like I said, super proud of their success. They're just killing it. And every day it seems like in our Facebook group, somebody's closing a deal, and it's just extraordinary. And yeah, my greatest, besides my kids, I don't think I'm more proud of anything than that. Yeah, no, but it's we're facing some scary times, and I've got to tell you, I'm known for mindset on my podcast. I talk about mindset and psychology. I talk about how I lost $50 million and the mindset it took to have $50 million to lose in the first place, but then maybe more importantly, the mindset it took to recover from that to the success that I have today, and that's going to be super important in what's coming. Mindset's going to be important. Who you're hanging out with is going to be super important. Your peer group, because if your peer group is scared shitless, sorry, I try to prevent the profanity, but sometimes I slip. But anyway, if they're scared, you're going to be scared. So you want to be around people that are, that are growing and inspiring. I remember when I lost everything in 2008 and 9, I was in Tony Robbins' Platinum Partnership, and it was about over $100,000 back then. But I was around people that were killing it through the crash. Thriving. And they're like, get up, you big puss. It's 50 million. Just go make it happen again. And, that's who you want to be around when the stuff hits the fan, right? And so, be careful. Be careful of your focus. Do my goal setting thing to get realigned on your goals, and get into a peer group that isn't going to be afraid of what you're doing and caught up in fear, because fear will paralyze you. And sometimes it's family. So, love your family, but choose your freaking peers proactively. Super, super important right now.
Absolutely. And I love you talking about, designing life in the worksheet. People spend, I think on average, 17 minutes on Netflix just finding a stupid show to watch that has zero value. Right. And you take that 17 minutes and focus it on designing your life. And, the dividends are going to be 100x,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yeah, listen, can I plug my bootcamp real quick?
Absolutely,
Can I mention it? Yeah, so I only do one live event a year. I do virtual events, but I only do one live event a year. It's coming up September 15th through the 17th. It's in Orlando. There'll probably be 1,000 people there. That's what we're anticipating. And if you go to that rodslinks.com and go to the bootcamp website, if you use the code Gary, and I'll tell my team right now to do that. If you use the code Gary, you can come for $197. And it is not a sales pitch, okay? It's not a big sales pitch. I talk about my coaching for maybe 30 minutes. The rest of the 3 days is all full-on training, okay? And it's drinking through a fire hose, because we go through every aspect of the business, picking a team, finding a market, evaluating the market, finding deals, getting a lot of deal flow, evaluating deals, due diligence, underwriting, syndicating, joint ventures, raising all the money you need for your deals. I'll have 3 panels each day, billions represented by the panelists on stage, and you'll love it. I only complaint we ever get, I never get complaints except that maybe the room's too cold or the food sucked or something like that. But no, it's a blast. And of course, I spent time on mindset because that's 80 to 90% of your success in anything. That's why my students have been so incredibly successful, because they actually do something with what they learn. Most people go to a seminar and they don't do anything, but this is a whole lot different. And if you do come and you don't love it, I'll give you your money back. I don't mean like it. I mean freaking love it. I'll give you your $197 back. But it's a pittance for the amount of value that we throw out there at these events. It's full on. I only do one a year because it kills me, man. It takes me literally a full week to recover because it's brutal. But it's a lot of fun. People rave about it. And again, if you go to Rod's links, or if you're driving listening to this, text the word links to 72345. Again, LINKS to 72345. And we'll send you the website. You can go there and remember to use the code Gary to get that price, because the price is more than that now, and it'll end up being $600-700 here before the event. But yeah.
Yep. And we'll put all that in the show notes, so you can check it out and use it. And that's a steal, guys. You're going to get tremendous amount of education, tremendous amount of.
Have you been to one of my boot camps? I know you're my mastermind.
The one in LA a few years ago.
Wow. Okay, you went and you enjoyed it. It was valuable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just adds rocket fuel too. Like.
Right.
You come away just energized. And it really, and the networking, the education, all these different pieces, like those are great, absolutely.
Thanks. Yeah. I love doing it, man. I wish I could do more than one a year, because I really do love it, but it just, I'm getting older and it freaking kills me. But anyway.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump back into for someone that hears like the end is coming, but there's tremendous opportunity. How do they?
I wouldn't call it the end. I would call it disruption. I would call it pivot points. And, I'm going to tell you, we go through these pivot points in our life where we have to innovate. I remember you talking about the LA event. That was right before COVID. That was the last event I did before COVID. And I was scheduled to have 800 people in Orlando in 2020. And of course, we all know what happened with that. And I was freaking out. And so I had to innovate. I had to pivot. I had to create this video studio here in my compound in Florida and do virtual. And I've had thousands of people attend my virtual events. But maybe you're listening and you're at that place that, you're getting hung, been a lot of tech layoffs. And I know you're, in that side of the country, and a lot of people are scared and have some pain. And so if you're listening and you're in that place, you might have to innovate. You might need to look in the mirror and pivot. I know it's uncomfortable, but I'm going to tell you, the most successful people in the strongest companies on the planet became that way in tough times. And so, roll up your sleeves, think about what you might do to capitalize on what's coming, how you can use your skill set to do something, and you'll kill it. Okay. But don't get sucked up in fear. Don't forget Netflix for a while. Forget that freaking TikTok. That damn TikTok has sucked me into. But forget that stuff and focus on reading good books, getting up to speed on whatever endeavor you want to take. And I'm going to tell you, pick a vehicle, because everything's going on sale. Every real estate asset class is going on sale. Businesses are going on sale. 80 million baby boomers are retiring. Many of them own businesses. And so there's going to be incredible opportunity if you're up to speed. And if you're going to do multifamily, for God's sakes, get your butt to my boot camp, because you want to get up to speed as fast as you can right now so you can capitalize on what's coming. So you're not, suffering from it. You're thriving from it. Okay. You can build some people are saying it could be the greatest transfer of wealth we see in our lifetimes, but you got to be up to speed.
Yeah. Yeah. We've bought student housing during COVID when it was 52% occupied in February. Wow. By the summer, we got it at 95% occupied. So we're actually able to refinance that deal right now and return 100% investor capital because we've doubled the value. We bought garden office space for pennies on the dollar. We've converted to multifamily as well. So there's
no kidding. You did an office to multi conversion. Yeah. I'll tell you that and now a lot of offices don't lend themselves to that, but that's it was a garden style, you said. Okay, so awesome. Where was that, by the way?
It's in Youngtown, which is part of the Phoenix MSA. So we bought the property for $1.9 million. We'll have over 100 units on this property when we're done.
Wow. What's the total investment in it with the CapEx?
total with CapEx, you're talking just under 20 million.
20 million, and it'll be 100 doors.
Yeah, in Phoenix. So you're talking
that's
valuation
below what you could buy them for. So that's fantastic, man. You're going to kill it with that. Good for you. That's a big project, brother. Wow.
Yeah, we've got partners, because when that's not my skill set in new development. So we brought on a partner that can help us with it to get the,
Perfect.
so I can protect my investors. Yeah.
Sure. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I think there's a lot of, if you put on your innovation cap, which you obviously did with that deal, there's going to be a lot of opportunity, a lot of distressed office. I think you could convert office to some self-storage in some cases, multi in some cases. Who knows what other uses might be out there? If somebody thinks of them, they'll be a freaking gazillionaire. But there's going to be a lot of office issues. By the way, guys, and if you do that, go to that Rod's Links. My podcast is there, and I'm really proud of it. We're over 16 million downloads, and the reason it's been so successful is I spend so much time on mindset. I do a clip every week called Own Your Power, and it's 5 minutes a week. You give me 5 minutes, I will juice you, okay? So even if you're not interested in multifamily, if you check out those episodes, they're called Own Your Power, I'll keep you motivated and focused and headed the right direction, and I really enjoy them. They have music and everything, so I'm really proud of that work. So check that out if you're not already listening.
Yep, and also check Rod's social media content. I mean, he puts out a ton of great value. It's all free, so
thank you.
A lot of great.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's all on Rod's Links as well. By the way, all my social channels are there. But if you go there and you've got a question about multifamily, I answer every single question. Okay, my team answers the ones that are simple. But if it's something they don't know, they'll ping me. But every question gets answered. Okay, so don't hesitate to reach out, and happy to help in any way that I can. And I mean that sincerely.
So someone that has been listening to this podcast and wants to take advantage of this opportunity, when would be a good time for them to start jumping in? When do you think
they should start listening to your podcast and my podcast immediately, okay? And then get to my boot camp, man. I mean, unless there's somebody else doing a boot camp like mine before then, but I don't think anybody gives as much material as I do. A lot of guys will do these boot camps and they'll bring in 20 different speakers and you'll get little pieces of stuff, but you don't get the whole soup to nuts thing, which is what I do. Literally, I mean, my manual is 2 inches thick, and as you know, we go through every aspect of the business. But here's the thing. If you're trying to learn this in the thick of this recession, which is coming, the train is headed for the brick wall. If you're trying to learn this in the thick of it, it's going to be too late. You need to just immerse yourself in it now, even if it's just podcast episodes until my boot camp. But if you can make it to Orlando, I promise you'll be glad you came, and that will really get you rolling. So, yeah, but that's what you got to. You got to educate yourself, whether it's with me or not. You just got to educate yourself absolutely as fast as possible. So
and have a really good network of people, like-minded people that you can
get around people. And that's why the live events are so good, because I just interviewed one of my warriors, literally one of my students, literally an hour ago on right here, and he's in 8,000 units. And he went to 5 boot camps before he joined my program. First time I've ever heard that one. But he thought it was going to be $100,000 and whatever. And so he just never talked to my people. And but now he's in 8,000 doors, and almost all of them were done with other warriors, with other students. So that environment is critical. So create that for yourself, or go to a local meetup groups that talk about multifamily. Get around people that are doing this. Like I said, your peer group is critical right now. You want to be around people that will be excited by your success, encourage you, not afraid of your success, or afraid of losing you if you succeed, or afraid of being humiliated if you succeed. And like I said, sometimes it's family. Love your family, but proactively get around people that want more out of life.
Well, Rod, I appreciate you coming on. I think for
Thanks,
our
brother.
listeners, the big takeaway is this is a huge opportunity, and we're not just looking to survive to 25. We want you guys to thrive through 25. So
you bet.
Check out those links. Sign up for the boot camp. Follow us, and where can listeners? I mean, you've given the
Rod's Links is really the best place. That's got everything. It's got my #1 best-selling book as well. It's right here. How to create lifetime cash flow through multifamily properties. I give it away for free. You pay $6 or something like that to have it shipped to you. You pay the shipping, and it's an incredible resource. People rave about this. And a lot of other free books there as well. in a PDF format that are really top shelf stuff. Really not crappy white paper. I mean, this is 200-page books that are free. So yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, this is Gary Lipsky signing off. I'll be back next week with another informative podcast on the Real Estate Investor Podcast. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Great to see you, brother.
Same here. To all of our listeners, thanks for joining us. And if you like this episode, please head over to iTunes or Stitcher and like, subscribe, and leave a review, as it will help us reach more people. And if you'd like to learn more about what we do at Break of Day Capital, head over to our website at breakofdaycapital.com and sign up for our newsletter and fill out our investor application. We'll talk to you next week.